Speaking of knowing better, we are not African Americans. That word was propagated by Jesse Jackson back in the 1980s, who is a member of the Boule Society, another protector of the order. So can you really trust what he's saying? And this organization reaches far and wide with 126 chapters and over 5,000 members in the Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, England, the Caribbean, of course the US. And remember, this organization is considered the Black Skulls and Bones and is where the rhyme, "Cross my heart and hope to die, stick a needle in your eye," comes from. It refers to the rituals on the body and the voodoo used by some of the Black members of the various chapters. It was another way to cast spells on us, just like the label Black. One of the first members of the Boule Society was Madam C.J. Walker. Her invention was exploited by the elite, and her products and her entrepreneurial efforts were backed by the elite, which made her a millionaire. She was chosen to represent Black America, just like all the ones that came after her. The real name of the continent of Africa was originally named Alkebulan, which translates into the Garden of Eden. It was changed by a dude named Scipio Africanus, a 5-star general who had defeated Hannibal, a Black general from Carthage, in 202 AD and renamed the continent after himself. This guy was a Roman conqueror, a white man, who participated in child sacrifice and spirit cooking. And you're still, to this day, tying yourself to him, his works, and the God he was committing sacrifices to by calling yourselves African American. And how can you be two continents in the first place? But that's for my critical thinkers here. We have to be careful what we're calling into our lives, because it's yet another psyop that's running currency in the pockets of the elite. Speaking of Roman conquerors, the Roman Catholic Church was created by Constantine with his homosexual lover to manipulate the masses for mind control through religion. And nothing against gay people, I'm just saying, it's crazy how they gonna deem homosexuality demonic, yet they do it behind our backs with adults, children, and even animals. Like I said in the previous volume, Rome was the new Babylon. But look at what Catholic means. It means cesarean, and the offspring of catheter, which means, and put your head in the gutter, a thin, flexible tube inserted into the body to permit introduction or withdrawal of fluids or to keep a passageway open. This was heavy for me. Are you sitting down? This is why this is the last volume of this series, okay? This is what those priests do to the children they abuse. Just like how Washington, D.C. is 6 miles from Jefferson Memorial, which is 6 miles from the White House, which is 6 miles from that dick in the sky, is how they erect their buildings. Listen, they find ley lines on the earth, then establish monuments or buildings there to channel dark entities and bring them into this dimension. I kid you not. Many Catholic churches are established on these ley lines, and then they use the holes in their bodies and the holes on the bodies of these children they're sacrificing as portals to bring in dark entities. This is why sex is also called getting laid. This is why it is literally, spiritually, and figuratively a matter of life and death when it comes to your sexual partners. Whose portal are you borrowing after that night at the club? What's the ruling force of that force of nature? But these priests literally insert their way of life, the way to life, with the intention of using the pain and blood and adrenaline from these children they abuse to solicit more darkness into this realm from the unseen realm. This has been happening since the beginning of time. And that bone broth y'all drink to stay young, it's a concoction of chickens, pigs, and babies' bones. bone broth is just another form of spirit cooking. So don't get mad at Jay-Z dancing with Marina Abramovich and you're doing the same practice but call it innocent because you didn't pay thousands of dollars. You just got it off the shelf at Walmart. Stop it. I hold space regularly for these children to be released as soon as possible. And you can do it too. This is one of the modalities I offer the collective in the Affluence Alliance. By using our imagination, we can find true freedom. I use my imagination and intention to visualize them being set free. This is how you can change things, one vision at a time. There's a difference between Christian faith and Christianity. One is serving the primordial creator, the energy expressed in your intuition and through your third eye. And the other is the promulgation of a one-world religion through the Vatican, the Roman Catholic Church, which is a false paradigm. The Cestui Que Vie Act of 1666 made every human property of the Vatican through the birth certificate. This is defined as human trafficking. You're literally born into sin and shapen in iniquity by these false prophets because of the Roman Catholic Church. And these false prophets tell the secrets in the fine print, but don't nobody read the Bible to save their life. Miles Monroe had a book ready to dish the news, but just like Aaliyah, he was taken out by a plane crash. It's the same group of people that disappeared that Malaysia flight too. Makes you wonder who was on that flight. This information is out there, but first you gotta wanna find it and then be led to where to look. These two, gone too soon, are going to reveal the Down Low Club, which has ties to Kamala Harris, but they were taken out by the system they were going to expose. It's a system of manipulation through religion that's doing all of this. It's a legalized and organized dogma that uses birth certificates, death certificates, probation, court systems, and legal prison slavery to keep us all subservient. Look at this word, Christianity. The suffix of the word is similar to amity, profanity, vanity, insanity. Anybody want to tell me why does Hinduism worship 33 manifestations of God using similar mudras seen in Christian portraits? Because the same people who gave you Christianity is the same people who enslaved the melanated since the slave trade and who enslave all of us today through religion. Let me show you how deeply this corruption in the church and the corruption of the church as an organization really is. The deep state has the public at large programmed with the acronym AME, meaning African Methodist Episcopal Church, which is made up words propagating the Black Liberation Movement. AME is really an acronym meaning Abolitionist, Manumission, and Emancipation, which brings light to the redesigning of the whole system that happened several years ago. Emancipation does not mean liberty. It means you are no longer an indentured servant. You just get to choose your employer. Emancipation is the redesigning of slavery, which requires you to appease the IRS and pay taxes, appease the landlord and pay rent, and appease the banking system to pay a mortgage, who appeases the monarch, who then appeases the overlord. And look at the root word appease. It's the same word found in peasant. So explain to me, are you really free? Even paying for that house 30 years, you still gotta pay taxes. Are you really free? Since 1863, through Abraham Lincoln, we were controlled assets of the North against the South. Again, slavery has only been redesigned. Feudalism is the paradigm of the United States of America. So when you consent to taxes by not challenging the state on this status, you are then required to pay property taxes on your car, property taxes on your house, taxes on your IRAs, registering your vehicle to the monarch of your state, county taxes, state taxes, sales taxes, federal taxes. Some people pay sales tax on their property tax, and all are paid to the tribunal as tribute for privileges, whereas a sovereign American, you really have rights. not mere privileges. What are you, a 16-year-old with the car for the weekend? We were promised a Christian republic ruled by elected officials, but the Electoral College set up from the second Constitution now completely overrides that. The first Constitution makes us American sovereigns, but the second Constitution makes us U.S. citizens who are now beholden to the state. The second Constitution is an illegal contract created in 1871, which created the IRS, which is an illegal entity. From the United States for America to the United States of America makes us all corporations through the birth certificate, the driver's license, the social security numbers, which are also illegal entities that have made you into a stock traded on the New York Stock Exchange and now tagged and tracked by these numbers through your AT&T and Verizon account and the chips on your phone. This current paradigm of socialism was derived from Marxism from the Soviet Union. Do you see now how slavery was not really abolished? The Constitution doesn't even provide bail. It's all plantation politics. AME Church exposes the slave being redesigned, but y'all so emotionally tied to the church because y'all give them y'all's hard-earned money and from tradition, making a covenant with these 501c3 corporations, which are also illegal entities. They keep your soul attached to their dogmas. And break down 501c3. 5 plus 1 is 6. C is the third letter. And then 3. 6, 6. This is what your churches operate under. But the original Constitution never designed church and state to be together. And now the state can mandate churches to close due to this medical martial law. A precedent has now been set. Things will never be the same. So why are you accepting their jurisdiction over you? Go ahead and celebrate the 4th of July if you want to. You are being manipulated. And now you know better. So you gotta do better to be better. Y'all wanna march and vote. But the real movers and shakers are using finance and capital and language and law. And that's what the rest of this page is about to be about. The reason the Alabama bus boycott was so successful was because our ancestors crippled the system's economic structure. But you think one day of marching or one day of voting is going to give you freedom in a system that was made for slave owners and landowners? Okay. Y'all would rather participation at their table than practice real economic power. Oh, okay, I see. Okay. Y'all would rather participation at their table than practice real economic power? We have to get to the place where we create a community for ourselves that has a gas station, a bank, a supermarket, a school, and a hospital to even have a chair at this table y'all trying to sit at. The Black Liberation Movement through this black church establishment has brought in $500 billion in tithes and offerings since 1980 and continues each Sunday with $14 million every week. But we don't have any of the aforementioned to show for it. Where are the institutions we need? Why are we still going to our oppressor for jobs and an education? Where's the infrastructure and the systems needed for the melanated community? Where is our representation? This is why they're called denominations, because all they do is take your 5s, take your 10s, take your 20s, take your 50s, and for sure take them Benjamins in the plate. Let's not look at these Baptist and Pentecostal and Methodist churches theoretically or idealistically, but rather functionally and logically. What have they given us? Anyone? Hope? So y'all give y'all money to hope dealers and call that freedom? They are psychologically disarming us from our true enemies. They're pacifying us. They're distracting us from our true political and economic struggles with these milquetoast sermons. And don't get me wrong, some of us need that encouragement. I am not above the fray. But I'm showing you on a larger scale what they lack at the end of the day.